So good afternoon to you all. I am Professor Sayanekar. Whatever points regarding education have been raised since the first speech were all taken into account in the ancient system of education. This is mainly because this system originated in India and it was not readily picked up from any other country. In the very first session, in the very first speech, it was said that educational system is contextual. Our system also had originated in a particular context. It changed as the context changed. As new subjects developed, new sciences developed, new requirements developed, the educational system of ancient India also went on changing. We looked at education as a part of our religion. Religion is called dharma. But dharma, what we understand today, is different, and how the ancient Indians understood was different. Dharayati sadharmaha. So dharma is the one which upholds the social system. Something went wrong with the sound system. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. In ancient times, education was given through different institutions. Initially, it was given at the family. Later on, it was given through the Gurukulas. Then different ashrams developed. Then education was given through Buddhist and Jain monasteries, as they were called viharas. And finally came into existence the big universities like Banaras, that is Kashi University, Takshashila University, Vikramshila, Nalanda, Udantapur, Somapuri, etc. But some of the features, basic features, educational features, were common in all these educational systems. And I want to focus upon these features which were common. First of all, the purpose of education was not to give just academic education, just bookish education. It was not just to teach the books to the or sciences to the students, but the main purpose was to mold the entire personality, the entire character of a student and make him a useful citizen. So the purpose of education was to mold the society at large. They used to call it Veshti and Samashti. Veshti is individual. By molding an individual, you could shape the entire society. So the aim of education was all-round progress, all-round development of a student. Naturally, the teacher who taught such students and who brought about the total development of a child also had to be of similar or proper caliber. Today what is happening is anybody becomes a teacher, whether he is having the necessary caliber or not. Only once you have the paper qualification, you become a teacher. Once you pass the setnet, you start teaching in college. That was not the case in ancient times. In ancient times, education was, teaching was not a profession. It was a mission. Those who really wanted to teach only they became teachers. Not because you were getting good salary. Today the professors are getting 1 lakh or 1,50,000 salary. So everybody wants to become a professor. That was not the case in ancient times. The goal of education, the purpose of education was goal oriented and not profit oriented. In Gurukulas, everybody who was desirous of taking admission could get an admission. Nobody was denied education because he was poor. Today we find that several courses like medical, engineering are held up, are prohibited only because students cannot afford their cost, their expenses. That was not the case in ancient times. In ancient times, total education was free. The students never had to pay anything for their stay, for their education, for their tuition, for their food, for their clothing, everything. The entire responsibility was taken over by the society. Once a student entered the Gurukula, for the first year, the Guru did not teach him anything. The Guru simply kept a watch on the character, on the abilities, on the likings of the student. And if he found that the student was capable, was eligible for a particular course, then only the teaching started. Today we talk of aptitude test, but in ancient times, the teacher held this aptitude test for 1 whole year, and then only the teaching started. Then the educational method included memorization at initial stage, then question answers, then analysis, discussions. But at the initial stage, since written books were not available, the emphasis was on memorization. All the books were reduced to memory. The students had to learn each letter by letter as the teacher taught. So the student developed a habit of proper hearing, because unless and until he properly heard the teacher, he could not utter the letter. So the teacher used to teach the student letter by letter, word by word, and then that is how the entire book was memorized. Now there was a profit, there was a benefit of this system, that the student always kept all his knowledge with him. He did not have to go to library to refer to books. Every teacher and every student was like an encyclopedia who used to keep his entire library with him in his brain because of memorization. Today we are not giving so much importance to memorization. Today students just learn the previous day of exam. They just vomit out in their paper, and the next day they are totally blank about the subject. That did not happen in ancient times. Whatever the student learned was not only memorized, but was revised again and again. So whatever he had learned was, in modern jargon, it was again and again revised. The files were extracted again and again so that the files would not get corrupt. So that was the system of ancient. Initially, a child does not understand anything. So it is better to memorize. We have learned the tables. We never understand what is that. But because we memorize them, it becomes very useful in our later times when we develop the capacity of understanding. So first memorization, then questioning. Later on, once the student develops the capacity of understanding the concepts Then the teacher explained the concepts. Initially, a child does not have the capacity to understand the concepts. Just now it was said about abstraction. Abstraction starts later on. Once you learn different concepts, then you develop abstraction. Then, a student had to observe certain vows while he was in Gurukula. What vows? Vows of celibacy, very important. Vows of begging. Every student had to go out for begging alms, A-L-M-S, alms. Every student, whether he belongs to a royal family or an ordinary poor family, every student had to go and beg from the society. Now this vow had certain benefits. What benefits? That the student came to know that whatever education he is receiving is because of the society. So he used to become grateful to the society, that the society was helping him, and because of that he was learning. Naturally, once he became an adult, he also performed his duty that he has to support the students when the students come for begging. So this chain of begging and supporting went on. The society also used to come to know whom they are providing help. Today what is happening is that we are also paying tax. The government is helping students from our tax, but we don't know which student we are helping, and the students don't know that we are helping them. That type of gratitude and help, that feeling is not there, which was there in ancient times. Just now our madam spoke about nutrition, nutrition and food, and its relation with the proper development of children. This was taken care of in ancient times. When a student brought food from begging, he had to first show it to the teacher. The teacher would decide what is good for the student and what is not. And once the teacher gave permission, then only the student could eat it. There were strict restrictions regarding what should be eaten, how much should be eaten, when should be eaten. Okay. Your brain, the development of brain depends upon what you eat. The ancient Indians divided the food into three categories: sattvic, rajas and tamas. And according to sattva, raja and tama, these qualities are developed. Your personality changes according to what type of food you eat. Whether you become very calm and cool, whether you become very aggressive, whether you become criminal, all this depends upon what type of food you eat. And the ancient Indians had thought of it. Questioning is very important. After a certain time, a student used to ask why, how, when, what, and the teacher used to answer. Many of our books are in the form of question answer. All our Upanishads are in the form of question answer. Then even Bhagavad Gita is in the form of question answer. Arjun asked and Krishna answers. So this method of question answer was there. Every teacher used to provide personal attention to the student. He used to have full supervision over the student. The student goes in the company of which persons. The student eats what. The student does what. From morning till evening, he was strictly under the supervision of the teacher. Just now madam said that you go on knocking. Mummy, I want this. Mummy, I want that. Mummy cannot deny, but the teacher can deny. So that was the benefit of the Gurukula system. That the teacher would say, no, this is not good for you and you must not eat. So the teacher had full control over the molding of the child. The character of the teacher used to have perfect impact on the student. There were different methods of conducting tests. Daily tests were conducted. The teacher did not say that I am conducting your test. The teacher did not declare the timetable of the exams. But constantly a vigil was there. Vigil. The teacher used to have a vigil. And that is how different methods were used to test the character, the ability, the learning of the student. We must also know that ancient Indian system had several features which can be useful today also. Unless and until you give personal attention, the students cannot learn. Today when I go to college, we have 100 or 130 students. I don't know who is who, whether he has understood, whether he has learned, whether he has liked, nothing. I just go, deliver a lecture, come back. But in ancient times, it was not like that. And personal attention could be possible only because of limited number of students. The student-teacher relation, the ratio, student-teacher ratio was fixed. It was never more than 1 to 15. For every 15 students, there used to be one teacher. The teacher could not go on adding students only because they were paying. Today, that is what is happening. That if you pay me, okay, come. If you pay me, okay, come. 100 students, no, 10 more, okay, because they are ready to pay. This was not the case in ancient times. Last point I want to make, that since there were so many advantages of the ancient Indian educational system, we did not unnecessarily glorify it. Today what we are finding is that history is misused because history is an applied science. But many times history is misused to misguide the society, to provoke the society. We made a lot of progress, no doubt, in every field of education, in every field of science, in every field of literature. But that does not mean that everything had to be glorified unnecessarily, and it is wrong if we claim that every invention had taken place in ancient India. Many times mythology is confused with facts. We feel whatever is said in mythology was actually true. For example, Ram, Lakshman and Sita came back to Ayodhya from Sri Lanka in a Pushpak plane. So even before the Wright brothers, the Indians had invented planes. That is wrong. Plane has been, flying in air has been the imagination or ambition of man. But we did not confuse the imagination and ambition with facts. That is what is happening today, that we claim everything was there and we try to misguide the society. So we have to be very, very particular. We have to be very, very rational while learning our history, while examining. But whatever is good, definitely, because present system of education, we talk of quality. Quality is rapidly declining. The quality can be improved if we have the ancient system of education with some modifications. I don't say that the entire educational system can be revived because the situation has changed. New sciences have come, new instruments, new electronic devices have come up. So I will not say that the entire educational system should be revived as it was, but many of its features can be very, very useful even today. Thank you so much.